Hey guys, how we doing? I got a little bit of cold myself, so bear with me as far as my sniffling in my voice. But I got some more work done on the rat rod quad, we're gonna start calling it, and figure I'd do a little catch-up video on it and kind of show you guys what we've been making and whittling away. So here we go. Now that it's more permanently mounted, not just sitting up there, I actually got something to show you. I'll probably start with just the process of what I did. First thing was I want to get the rear tires squared away like they should. They are put on inside out to give me much more of an offset. If you look how deep they are on that side, you can kind of see that compared to the inside. But the problem with doing that is the valve stem is now on the inside, and that's okay for that tire, but not that one because the brake drum is there. So what I did to rectify that was pop the tire off the bead. I didn't take the tire off, just popped it off the bead and drilled a hole and put another valve stem there. And the one that was on the inside that was in the way, I just drew it the other way. The valve stem now goes into the tire and just put a cap on it. And that's fine to do on this. There's only 5 psi on these tires. The valve stem will start failing if you start getting, like if you try doing that with a car with 30 psi. The valve stem would fight you because the valve's only meant to work one direction. So anyway, the tires are squared away. I figured out where I wanted those, and from there I went and started moving the shocks to where you see them. Originally the shocks were located here and they were attached to the frame right here, and with doing that they have quite a bit of travel. They probably would move up and down, I'm gonna guess 14 inches maybe of travel, 12 inches of travel, and that's just a guess. So in turn, because I'm gonna have so much more weight on it, I went from there, relocated it further towards the outside of the wheel, and did the same on top. I came out and brought them to that location where you see it now with a heavy steel pipe. And now the travel is probably 4 inches, something like that, 5 inches maybe. And with having the heavy load on there, I don't want it moving around that easy. So that got the opening and the rear kind of sitting the way I like. If you look at it, you can kind of see that the tires are pretty level. There's a spacer on the left-hand side that's still not on there. It's sitting on the bench right now. That'll kick that tire another 3/8 of an inch or so outward. They do articulate in if they go too far. I may go with putting a bump stop, probably come up off of here, and where this bar comes up I'll put a rubber bump stop where it can only travel so far in case you're really heavily loaded down that it doesn't want to try to over travel, or bottom out the shocks and wipe the shocks out. And go around this side. The frame before, got to try to visualize it, kind of came up. It's that tube underneath there that I'm trying to show. That came up on an angle, something like this. And then it had like 3 triangles that came down with a hoop that went on the back. I essentially ended up just cutting all that stuff right off. And see it right here. And the same on the other side. You can see where it's kind of heated up right there. I took them and I heated it up with oxyacetylene, and I had a strap around the rear, and I drew them down. I kept heating up and drew them down, and I knocked about 2 inches out of these 2 tubes. I should probably put a light on so you can see better. There you go. I knocked about 2 inches out of this and drew that part down to here. So instead of that frame going uphill like it did before, now it continues to go downhill and get out of the way. There, now you can kind of see what's going on. So now these tubes are no longer where this stuff is. I would have had to kind of like intersect and cut all those tubes, and I really don't want to do that. I want to kind of keep them one solid length. It's much stronger that way. These were the tabs that were mounted inboard. They were actually right inside there. That's where I cut them off from. You can see how much further out I moved them. And then moving on to the probably the trailer itself, I ended up using the pivot point that was originally on the trailer, and there's a key on that side. You can see it sticking out. So the axle is still removable. The tires were sitting right here too. And then cut this axle short and just welded a washer on it. So you can still take it apart. You can pull that pin and draw this rod right out of here and still take the bucket off, and it pivots on that. And then you can see there was a clearance issue with the tires. It would have been too close. So these were sectioned and moved in. Everything's just kind of tacked together right now, and everything's gonna get beefed up. I don't want to hear this is weak or that's weak. I know. It's just getting the functionality of it first, and then you strengthen everything because you don't know what's gonna be in the way. You know, I'll put plates inside here and run a plate right across the other side and kind of support the bucket a little bit better. This is a solid shaft that's up here, and that's welded to a piece of angle, and the angle is now welded to the bucket. That's my pivot point. The 2 cylinders for that came off the convertible are going to be my lift cylinders. You can kind of see those, and they're kind of a strange setup. If you look at them, it's not like a regular cylinder where, you know, one end is attached to whatever it's moving and the other end has a, you know, a clevis on the bottom that you can mount to. They went with this weird kind of, if you can see it, it's just like it pinned it on that side and it pinned it on that side. So what I ended up doing to make a mount for that was, this is a 5/8 spark plug socket, and then a heavy graded bolt is welded into that, and where it goes into the nylon right here was taken down, so there's no threads on it, but it's a nice snug fit. But over time it won't wear that nylon bushing out. And then on this side, used a nut, and what you can do is you could actually back this guy right out and you can still take the cylinder apart. I didn't want to make it so it was fixed, and again, all this will get beefed up later. This will all get, you know, cross braced and attached together. So if you watch how the cylinders move, you can kind of see how the bottom has to kind of swerve. But that's what we got. I took the latch system that was in the center, the original latch, and of course that would have been right in the middle of my back when I was trying to ride. I wanted something, I don't want the system to rely on the hydraulics to hold it in place. I want it so it latches down into place. And as you can see, that's the original handle and the original lock that used to be in the center of it. So when it's in down position, you can see how it locks. And now it's just held in place. I'm probably gonna put another pad on this side too, so that it has something to lay on. If you notice that, you know, that side's pretty good, but this side still has a little bit of flex. You never want the cylinders to top out or bottom out and have them be the stop, because the cylinders will get destroyed. Again, in the same thing, when the bucket's all the way down, it rests right here and leans on this, so it's not using the shocks. I keep calling them shocks, the hydraulic cylinders, to cause the issues. So here you can see it again on this side. Let's get do one here. And that's hurt pretty good. I put a couple 100 pounds of weight in it. They're sitting on the floor over there, big steel bars. So that's probably about 200 pounds right there. And I jumped in it too and jumped up and down. I had 400 pounds in it, and it seems pretty good. I don't think I'll have a problem with the way the suspension is. It seems like it holds it pretty good, but there's nothing saying I can't modify that. Plus I could turn them up. They're not up all the way. Only about, I think they're only up 1 click right now. So I can change the preload on that. Then after that, I jumped on the dry shaft, split it in half, and ended up being a nice snug fit. All the same black iron pipe that I was using for the rest of the frame is also the exact same size as that. So you see that nice long drive shaft. It's just tacked into place, but it seems to be pretty straight. It goes in pretty far. Probably goes into about right there on that one, and probably about right there on that one. So that makes our front hook up. Plus, you pop the bolts out. I left enough room in the slip joint where it will come right out of there, so I can get that drive shaft out. The original gas tank's going back in. It covers from about here down, leaving this space kind of open in the middle. I'm thinking I'm going to put an onboard air tank and compressor in there, and I'm probably going to go with, maybe even like between the rails here, I'll make a box that comes down, a good sized battery, whether it be a car battery, or a small car battery, or a big tractor battery. Excuse me. Is going to be the power source for it, because I'm going to be running the pump. The pump's in my truck, I believe, at the moment, but that's about the size of a small loaf of bread. And there's the pump that runs that, and it's got its own reservoir already built into it. So anyway, battery, hydraulic pump probably hang right about here, and then up over the top of the dry shaft, I'm probably going to mount an air tank with a compressor, so that I have a little onboard air to go fill up tires as I go using this thing around the yard and kind of tooling around with it. And then I'm also going to make a quick connect set of jumper leads that click in like the winches on my truck, and put jumper cables on that, so if I want to go over and jump start something, I can use this for the power source. And then finally, probably at the end of it, there's going to be a plow on the front with a winch set up powering that up and down. So that's where we are. Just figure I'd give you a little wrap up. You can kind of see that in the up position, that should be plenty enough to get the material to come out of it. And you can kind of see down below that it rests on that that metal bar down there. So, it's coming along. It's not feeling that great, so it's kind of slowing me down a little bit. But other than that, I think we're doing okay. And as I said, everything will get gusseted up and beefed up once I have all the locations of everything. Nothing worse than putting something together, and then you're like, ah, crap, I have to run something else through there, and you got to cut it all apart again. So that's why you kind of see it, you know, just a frame of it kind of put together right now. Everything else will get, again, beefed up as I move on. The next thing I'm probably going to start going on to now is I'll start with the cables, making controls in different locations for different shifters and all, to run the high-low range, the reverse lever, hook up one for the front for the diff lock, and start with those kind of things and get those locations. As far as the seat, I'm probably going to take it and make it like you would a mini bike seat, where you take a piece of wood, you cut the wood out the size that you want, and then you wrap, you stack about 6 inches of foam on it, and you wrap it. I have the old tonneau cover for my truck, which is that black vinyl material. I'll probably use that to wrap the seat in and make basically like a big loaf of bread it's going to look like. I could probably put air to the cylinders, and let's see what the air gun is. Here it is, to kind of show you how it operates. Now, hydraulically, it's going to be under control because it's a it's a smooth fluid. I'm just doing this with an air gun right now, so it's going to be too fast, but you'll get the idea. You know, so. But when on the switch, it'll be just like a convertible top, kind of goes up. I'm expecting it to be roughly the same speed. You know, I don't need it to be fast, but power is more important than speed. All right, guys, I'm gonna go back to sniffling, go blow my nose, and wrap this one up. Thanks for watching, and hopefully another couple of days or so, we'll be moving on from here and be into some other stuff on this. Again, thanks for watching. Take care.